I first saw Relay back at the 2024 Toronto International Film Festival. It's officially getting released in August now, so I figured I would do a revisited review of it for those of you that didn't catch my TIFF recap back like 6 or 7 months ago at this point. And Relay is directed by David Mackenzie. If that name sounds familiar, you might have heard of a movie called Hell or High Water. It's a good movie. It's every dad's in the country's favorite movie. He also worked on that show Under the Banner of Heaven, which I thought was really underrated. If you haven't seen that, highly recommend it. Very solid show. So I was definitely curious going into this, even though the premise sounded super basic. Riz Ahmed plays the lead here, and he is a guy who helps whistleblowers and targets of corporate blackmail out by anonymously connecting them through the Relay service, which is the same tool that is used by people with hearing or speech disabilities to communicate. And obviously he does this because he's an undercover agent contractor guy, and that makes the setup of this world pretty unique, especially for a thriller within this kind of genre, to the point where it definitely feels like the type of movie where if they didn't have this Relay idea, the movie probably wouldn't exist. It would just feel like another C-tier 90s thriller that your grandpa throws on at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday on TBS. But if you didn't watch my TIFF recap, I want to set the scene for the circumstance I had while watching this movie. So when you go to a film festival like Toronto, it is such an awesome experience, but by like day 4, you're starting to feel pretty tired because you've been watching movies and talking to people nonstop for pretty much like 14 to 16 to 18 hours a day, depending on which day we're talking about. So the screening for this was on day 5 of the festival, and I was running on fumes at that point. Like, I was getting no sleep. I was waking up early and staying up as late as possible to catch as many screenings as I could, and I really debated sleeping in instead of seeing this movie because it was at like 8 a.m. I know like this sounds like such a privileged thing, trust me, but I was so exhausted to the point where I was like, I feel like if I catch up on some sleep now, I'll be able to just get through the rest of the festival pretty easily. I didn't get back to my Airbnb until like 2 or 2:30 in the morning the night before, so I knew with the walk and everything, I'm getting 5 hours of sleep. But I was like, you know what? I'm here at the film festival. I'm here to watch movies. This is gonna be my only chance to watch Relay, so I'm just gonna do it. So I get to that theater exhausted with my extra large Tim Hortons black coffee, and I sit down and the credits start, and I'm like, yep, this is like every other thriller that came out during the 90s. Even the font in the beginning, you're like, okay, is this like discount Born Identity? What are we doing here? And to be fair, that's kind of the vibe the movie's going for. If you like that kind of thriller, you're gonna be super into this movie. And I knew like, okay, this movie is not chasing the Oscars, it's just chasing a good time, and let's kind of go along for the ride. And David Mackenzie is clearly capable of making a solid thriller. Even if this one doesn't reach the heights that Hell or High Water did, I still think there is a confidence in the energy to his direction. Like, he's never trying to make the movie something more than it actually is, but it still finds a way to do that with creativity with the Relay system. What I said might not make sense, but it makes sense to me, so it's staying in the video. And I think he uses the Relay system to his advantage in the movie. I'm not going to sit here and act like I even knew what this kind of community was or how this entire system worked, but I think they show it off in a clever way, and it showcases how useful of a tool this is, and it also works as an advantage to build up tension throughout this movie. And I think it's really cool that a fun thriller like this is down to include something like that into the main plot of the movie. The Relay system could have been used as purely a gimmick, and maybe at times it kind of feels that way, but I think they use it in a very intelligent and thoughtful way throughout the movie. Because a lot of the tension doesn't necessarily come from any action set pieces, it mostly comes from waiting for that information to get passed back and forth between people, and I thought that was really cool. Riz Ahmed once again proves he's super talented. He could be the anchor of any movie. He plays the lead really well here. He does really good at being the stoic, kind of quiet spy, but also getting emotional when he has to. I think he just handles a range of emotions really well. He doesn't overact, and it doesn't sound like a performance where he's trying hard to go for an Oscar or anything. I think he just really understood the kind of movie he's in, and he delivers on that. There are a lot of people that probably could have been cast in this role, but I think he makes it his own, and I'm very happy he's the star of this movie. With all that being said though, for the first 90 minutes, I was kind of sitting there like, I'm not really super into this. I was a little extra irritated because I was like, man, I skipped 2-3 hours of sleep for a 2-star movie on Letterboxd. Like, I could acknowledge it was definitely a decent, solid movie for sure. It's just this kind of thing is not up my alley. I'm not a fan of the Bourne movies at all. So I'm sitting there, I'm watching the movie play out, and then something happens. I'm not going to say what happens because I don't like to spoil movies like that, but all I'll say was I was really regretting not getting sleep. I felt very tired, and all of a sudden I was awake, and it made me rethink a lot of things about the movie, and it made me appreciate it a lot more. And I think when you look at this movie as a whole, like, I would recommend this to anybody that's into that 90s kind of thriller. If you miss that era of movies, this is right up your alley. I think you're gonna have a great time. It might end up being one of your favorite movies of the entire year. It's just like not my preferred kind of movie, and I think that's okay. I knew that going into this, and I still had a decent enough time with it, and I don't think it's gonna change anybody's life. I saw this movie about a year ago, and I don't really think about that often, but I do think the way they show off the relay system is really cool and should be seen by a lot of people. It's got some good tension, it's got good performances, and I do think with that relay system, it distinguishes itself enough from other thrillers that feel like this. It's the kind of movie that your dad, again, would go through the cable channels back in the day. He missed the first 12 minutes, but he sits down and he locks in for the rest of the time. And then when you talk to him at dinner, he's like, oh man, I saw this really cool movie called Relay on the TV. It's very dad coded in that way. So if you're a dad, I definitely think you should check it out. You'll probably have a good time. It's not super flashy. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel at all, but I do think it does what it sets out to do. And even though I dragged my sleep deprivated body all the way to that theater, it was a 30-minute walk. So that's 30 minutes less sleep. I don't care. I saw the movie. I thought it was decent enough. And anytime I get to see a decent movie before a lot of people, I have no right to complain. So this is Chase. Thank you so much for watching as always. And be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss any future reviews. I appreciate you.